Right, we are all sanded, all prepped, ready for the outro flooring to go on top now. Been putting it off as long as I can, but today I'm going to have a go at laying it. I've sanded down where I've put filler onto the screws. It was a wood filler, proper stuff, so I don't get it breaking out underneath the flooring when it's walked on, etc. With hindsight, the chap who was laying the flooring for me was a carpenter. I was really appreciative that he did it for me, and he did it as quick as he could because he was in between jobs. But he had to use 2 pieces of ply, and decided this would be the easier way to use, to make the cut. So the second piece was over here, as you can see. With hindsight, that join would be better down there, and the reason being because it would be under cupboards. So if you're going to do the same kind of thing, just bear that in mind. I know most people do, but I was in such a rush on the day, and he was doing me a favour. I just let him get on with it, and he did a fantastic job. I'm really happy with it. I've sanded down this where they do join as much as possible. But where I've screwed it to hold it, but there still is some flex when you walk on it, so I'm sure this probably will get spotted under the outro flooring, but it'll only bother people like me who have OCD sort of and can't help keep looking at it. That hole over there is where the water pump fed to the sink, etc., came up through there from the water tank that's underneath. This one was, I think they call it a gas dropout, and this was a boxed in section under here, and the gas bottle sat in there. There is a hole obviously through to the floor in case the gas bottle leaked. I've covered it up at the moment simply because I'm not sure whether I'm more than likely going to go for one of those kitchen pods, self-contained kitchen pod, so probably the gas bottle will sit in it, but I'm not sure. It might not, in which case I can just cut that floor insulation out, make a hole again, and then the gas bottle could sit under the seat here. As I say, it comes out, I think, roughly from looking at the pictures of the one I'm going to get. There's no measurements. It seems to be sort of in line with the corner of that pillar, roughly. So that will be underneath the bed. But I left this, and he cut out, obviously, the wood. And then I was thinking, if that... It sits basically just behind the rock and roll bed, somewhere about there. Sorry, in front of it. So the rock and roll bed would probably just sit on that. And I thought, well, I don't know why I kept it, because I'm having like a tripod stand where you can move it around depending on where you're sitting. So it was only when I go and lay the floor, I was thinking what I should have done is not got him to cut this hole out, and I should have just covered that over. But now there's not much I can do about it. It's at a stage where that would be difficult for me. I could cut a piece that size, but I don't know how I would fix it in place, because obviously that would flex underneath because that's a hole. But then I started wondering, do any vans have floor vents in them? And then I started to search, and they do. There's a couple of manufacturers create these floor vents, but the only thing is they're slightly bigger. That's, I think, 65mm diameter, and they were, I think the ones I was looking at was around about 83, and I didn't want to start messing about trying to make that bigger. But I found some other suppliers. They weren't just for vans, of floor vent coverings, and I thought, well, that's probably what I'll go with. So I'm going to keep that. I'm not going to cut it out at the moment. I'm going to go over it with the flooring, but at some point I'm going to put a circular metal grill on there with vents, and the reason being, when I was reading about it, they were saying that when it's hot or you're cooking and you've got the roof vent cracked open, you get a nice through draft. So I like the idea of that, especially you're sleeping in here in the summer and it's warm and you've got that roof vent cracked open, you're going to get a nice through draft with the windows, etc. So I'm thinking of pretty much keeping that as a floor vent hole. And something I'm going to look, maybe if I can get one of those ones where it adds like a lever where you can shut the grate. Well, I think I'm going a bit too far now, but I was thinking, you know, perhaps I could get one where you could close off in the winter, maybe, so it's not freezing cold because of it. But yeah, now I'm going to lay the floor in. What I'm going to do, I'm going to cut a piece out that's a bit bigger than this shape, and then gingerly start cutting it down to the desired size, and then glue it down. And I'm hoping it's not going to go wrong. I'm pretty sure I've got extra razor blades. I've got the glue, I think, that'll do it. I think I've got enough, but we'll see. So about the Altro flooring, it was advertised on my local marketplace, and I think I paid £35 for it. I did actually go along and get another one, but saw this one in the back of the garage and went away with the one I bought, and then was thinking about, oh, you know, it's almost like an orangey colour, it might be a good match with the van. So I went back and bought it. I couldn't sort of say, can you have the other one back? So I bought that one. I've got another one then sitting around that I'm going to sell. But yeah, and it turned out it was like this Altro flooring. So I think I think it's Altro flooring. It definitely doesn't feel like the traditional, you know, the floor with the vinyl. It doesn't feel like that. So yeah, I think I might have got a bit of a bargain there, but I don't know. We'll see. And I don't know how it'll look until it's down. So anyway, I'm going to stop waffling on and get on with laying this flooring now. It's been a long time coming. Actually really hard to cut through. That's a brand new blade. So right about here, I've learned that if I want to move the flooring from A to B, then I should have rolled it up first. The kink did show through onto the surface, but a quick glance just now, with many months having passed since I laid this floor, and I couldn't spot it, so I think I got away with it. But regardless, this was totally avoidable and a bit sloppy. What with hindsight being the wonderful thing that it is, then looking at this, I probably should have been using trimming blades specifically designed for this sort of work. And by that I mean those with the concave or hook ends. And if I was doing this sort of job again, then that's probably what I'd predominantly be using. Having said that though, I doubt I'd be confident enough to make those long sweeping light cuts that you see the trade skillsmen who work with this stuff make. The fact that they can make it look so easy is testament to their skills, and I'd recommend watching as many YouTube posts of them doing their thing before working with this stuff on like I did. The method I ended up settling for was this totally inefficient sawing light action, which dulled the blades in no time. What's really surprising is just how quickly this is blunting the razor blade. The reason I'm doing this, I've drawn a line and cutting along it, is because I'm paranoid about cutting into my insulation, so I'm keeping away from that. And this will be hidden behind the units and if not a piece of ply or whatever trim here. So it's kind of like why I'm doing it this way, and it's not giving that, it's actually coming, it's not as close as I want it to be, but then I'm worried about, as I say, cutting my insulation. Well, that's it. That's the flooring. I don't really want to say it was easier than I thought, but it went better than I thought. It's really difficult stuff to cut though. It's that's 4 razor blades just to go round really. So that bit there, there, and a tiny bit in that corner, and that was on my 4th razor blade. But I'm really pleased with how it looks. It's as well, it's sitting on at the moment without any glue, and it's really sort of, it looks almost like it has been glued to the floor. There's no like lumps or bumps anywhere. One thing I will say, which I did, but be careful when you put it in, I kinked the flooring in a couple of places, and you can see it. I think once the glue's down you won't, but yeah, you got to sort of be treated with kid gloves really when you're sort of putting it in. As I say, it's harder to cut than I thought, but that's good because you're sort of not slipping with the blade, stuff like that. But there are a couple of areas where I did make a couple of mistakes. Let me sit there, cut a wee bit, but I think what I'm going to do is have some kind of beading on this. I don't know, or I might just, as I say, just go along with some silicone sealant. Would like to have got closer than that than I did, but like I say, I was paranoid. I didn't want to cut into that, and I didn't need to with behind this. So I didn't need to get that absolutely perfect, or as perfect as I'd have liked it, but I'm really pleased with how it went. I've been putting this job off and off and off, and it looks good. I like it. And for £35, that's altro flooring. That's not bad. I don't think. I probably would have gone with like a grey, but then it might make it too dark as well. But anyway, that's all that was available. This colour, I thought it might look quite good with the Vans colour. But yeah, I'm pleased with it. And even if I did go with another you know, in future you could put another sort of vinyl or something else on top of it. This would be a good base. But yeah, I'm really pleased with it. Went better than I thought.